Okay. So the other way to define the structure is XML schema or XML schema definition is what we call it as, or in short, we will call it as XSD. Okay. It also defines the structure of an XML document, define the list of elements and attributes that can be used in an XML document, also specifies the order in which these elements appear in the XML document and other data types. This is referred as XML schema definition language. The way in which we write this is referred as XSD language, and the file what we generate is referred as an XML schema definition. Okay, so if you directly see it, it's the same thing. What you call um, like a DTD, it defines the elements, it defines the attributes, it defines the order. Okay. Now, what exactly is the difference, or why do we really require another way to represent the structure of an XML document other than DTD? The answer is it provides more control over the type of data that can be assigned to elements and attributes. Okay. One thing what we have noticed is we have hardly one or two different types of data types is what mentioned in case of DTD. But here, first of all, you have different types of data types available there. And also, the second point is makes it more flexible, that it enables you to create your own data types. So you wanted to have your own format of content. You can define such a user-defined data type, and then that can be specified as the content for an XML element in case of XSD. Also, you can specify restrictions on the data. Say, for example, you are putting a phone number. You just can put as a number in case of a DTD. Here, you can say it should be a number. It should be a 10-digit number, and it cannot start with a zero and sort of things. So that way, it makes it more flexible, and it makes it more deeper in terms of its complexity. Syntax is the same is that the syntax of an XML document. I mean, it's the same way it looks like. Now, the different data types used in an XML schema or XSD are primitive, derived, atomic, list, and union. Primitive data types. They are the fundamental data types, contain only values, do not contain elements or attributes. Okay, it can only contain values. It cannot be having a container type. It cannot be having attributes in it. So the basic data types are string, decimal, float, boolean, time duration, and recurring duration. The difference between time duration and recurring duration is time duration is just about a duration, whereas recurring duration is represents an activity that recurs after a specific time duration. Okay, so repeatedly after every 12 hours or every 4 hours, you wanted to do an alarm file generated, an XML file generated, recurring duration should help you to do that. So these are the basic primitive data types available. Now, from these primitive data types, there are few derived data types came. Okay, from decimal, integer is generated. So basically, it represents the sequence of digits with an optional leading sign, plus or minus. Long, from integer, you have a larger one, long. Non-negative integer is derived from integer. Integer itself is derived from decimal. Positive integer is derived from non-negative integer. And from long, int is derived. From recurring duration, you have derived time. From time durations, you have derived date. So few more additional derived data types, which basically derived from other primitive data types. Now, atomic data types are something which cannot be further broken down. It can be primitive or derived sometimes. String is an example which cannot be broken down into further smaller units such as characters or anything. So in that case, we mention that it is atomic data types. Just a term you have to remember what is atomic data types. That's it. List data types, derived data types that contain a set of values of an atomic data type. Elements referring to a list data type can contain a value only from a defined set. You can create a list of data type called point list derived from a decimal, which can contain the values like this. So from either a, atomic data type, it can create a set, and that can be a value for a list data types. Union data types derived from atomic and list data types. Zip name is an atomic data type that can contain string values, zip number, and is a list data type that can contain a list of zip code numbers. Then you can create a data type called zips that can contain a combination of both. That means you're basically saying that zipnum will have list data type, contain zip code numbers, and zip name is an atomic data type. So you combine both, you generate a union data type. I mean, there are some scenarios we may come across these kind of situations. We will see. Don't worry too much about these union data types, list data types, or derived data types. Primitive data types, if you know, you will be able to generate almost all the types of files. In addition to that, predefined data types, XSD allows you to define custom data types. Two different data types you can define: simple data types and complex data types. A data type that contains only values. Complex data types, a data type that contains child elements, attributes, and mixed content. So if I wanted to define my own user-defined element, I'm going to use complex data type. If I'm going to use just a new one which contains only data, no other elements and attributes, then I will go with simple data types. So basically, in XSD, you will be knowing or you will be learning to define simple type elements and complex type elements. So how will you declare a simple type element is the first thing. In case of DTD, what we spoke is you have two ways to incorporate a DTD. Either it can be an inline DTD or it can be an external DTD. If it is an inline DTD, it will be part of that XML file. It will be applicable only to that. If it is an external DTD, that same DTD can be applied to multiple XML files. And if you are writing a DTD, I always said that there is a format for an element, how it is, for an attribute, how it is well defined. Same way, in case of an XSD file, and we said XSD files can be written along with XML document, or it can be written as a separate file, and then you can link it also. Same like DTD, both formats of XSD files are available. Like you have a external XSD file, or you can have an inline XSD file. Now, every XSD element declaration starts with XSD keyword. Okay, to indicate that it is part of the schema definition, XML schema definition. It says XSD colon, and then you will say what you are going to define, whether you are going to define an element, whether you are going to define an attribute or not. Okay, so we said simple type element. Now, what is the thumb rule for simple type element is that it can contain only values. It cannot have child elements. It cannot have attributes. So to define such an element, we will use the following syntax. It says, now every element declarations, it has to start with XSD. So XSD colon, and I said it is going to be an element I am going to declare. Yes, XSD colon element. Then name of the element. What is the name? Name equal to whatever you give in double quotes, that will be the name. Type. What is the data type of the value what you are going to have it? Okay, so that one. Minimum occurs, you have to say how many times it is minimum can occur. Max occurs says what is the maximum number of times that particular element can occur. That's it. And then the end tag part. So if you from here is what one simple type element declaration. Now, what all things we have discussed in this? We said every XSD definition starts with the keyword XSD. So angle bracket XSD colon, when whether I'm going to declare an element or attribute or complex types, that is based on that will differ. But here I am defining a simple type element. So XSD colon element. Now, when you are defining an element, first thing what you have to define is name of the element. So there is a feature called name equals to, I can give the value. And then type specifies what data type it can take. So it will have either primitive data types or derived data types. Then minimum occurs and maximum occurs will say specify how many times this particular element can occur in your XML document. If minimum occurs, you say 0, that means even without this particular element, your XML file will be validated. Maximum occurs, you have set 2 times, and your element appears 3 times in your XML document, that will be considered as an invalid XML document. Okay. So it's the attributes for that XSD declaration is what saying. Name specifies the name of the element being declared. Type specify the data type of the element being declared. Min occurs and max occurs. It specifies the minimum number of time an element can occur. If specified 0, it means that element is optional. If specified greater than 0, it means element is mandatory. Okay, that's what we just now discussed. If I specify that element min occurs equal to 0, 0 or more times it can occur. So which means that even if that element is not appearing in your XML document, still that XML document will be considered as a valid XML document. Okay. Max occurs specifies the maximum number of times the element can appear. If we specify maximum occurs as unbounded, it means that the element can appear any number of times in an XML document. Okay. So if you say unbounded, there is no restriction of how many times. Otherwise, you are going to specify a number there, which will be a non-negative integer. So which means that you will have a positive value there. That based on that value, that many number of times the element can occur, and it has to be occurred. Okay, some element declaration examples. XSD colon element, name equal to product name, type equal to XSD colon string. Again, data types also we will be specifying as related to XSD. Okay, so string is a primitive data type. So XSD colon string will be the value what I'm going to put for type. XSD colon string, XSD colon positive integer, XSD colon non-negative integer. You can see how those different primitive and derived data types are specified. Okay. Now, when we were talking about advantages of XML schema definition language, we said you can also put the restrictions on the data type. That means content, how how long it should be, and all those things. So various restrictions what you can put. One is length, second one is min length, third one is max length, fourth one is pattern, and fifth one is enumeration. Okay. Length. It specifies the number of characters in the data type can contain. Okay. Now you are specifying that it's a string, and you are restricting that it has to be string, but the minimum length, sorry, the length should be this much. Min length, if you specify, minimum this many characters should be there. If that many number of values are not there, it will not be considered as a valid value. Max length specifies the maximum number of values. So that will give you the upper bound and lower bound. Pattern specifies the regular expression that the data type values must match. Okay, you can specify, say, one number is PIN number is also okay. Okay, some registration number you say, not your registration number I'm talking about, some other registration number, because your registration number is going to be very, rigid. Instead, you have first 3 letters are characters, second 2 letters are year in which your registration is happening, third 3 letters belongs to branch, and fourth part some 3 letters indicating your roll number, something like that. So I specify that the format of your registration number is like this. First 3 letters indicating the campus, second 2 letters year, third 3 letters branch, and fourth 3 letters are roll numbers. So I'm specifying a format. If I simply say XSD colon string, it can be anything. I don't want it that way. Rather, I want it this specific way. And also, year part, I cannot have character. It should be number. In roll number part, I cannot have characters. It should be numbers. Branch part, I should not have a number. I should have characters only. Campus name, first three characters, that should be again characters only, no numbers. So if that way, if you are specifying, that is a pattern. Okay. And finally, enumeration specifies that what are the possible values from which you can pick one. Now, suppose if I wanted to have an employee phone number with a format like this, say 080 Bangalore's code, and then 266 indicates that which section in the company he belongs, and 5480 belongs to the table he works or cubicle he works. So in that case, I'm saying, you can see, I'm declaring something called XSD, simple type. So now what I have done is, I'm not declaring an element, rather I'm now going to define a data type which is referred as phone number. Okay. Now in my element declarations, I will be using this phone number as the type. But here I have to first define what is phone number. What is the base I should specify? That means from which type I should be deriving it. Okay. So XSD type, simple type, name is the first attribute. Then there is a sub element called XSD colon restriction. Okay, what are the restrictions? In that, in the restrictions part, base is the first attribute. That means I have to specify base information from where you will be picking the values, from XSD colon string. So it can be characters, numbers, or whatever it is. What is the maximum length is what XSD colon length says. Value equal to 10. That means up to that, if I read, I will understand that phone number is a 10 character space, some value. Okay. Now the third one says XSD pattern should have an N there. PATTERN should be there. Pattern space value equals. Now what you are saying is you are going to give a format. So you wanted to have 3 digits. So the digits are indicated by D. To not to consider as D character itself, a slash is given so that it will be considered as digits. And then in curly braces, you are mentioning how many digits. So 3 digits. Then hyphen symbol should be there. Again digits. How many? 3. And then hyphen. Again digits. Curly brace 4, which indicates that 3, 3, 4 separated using hyphens or the format. Okay. So XSD pattern, and then this base, length, pattern are part of restriction. So XSD restriction is over here, and your simple type is also over. Now after this, you can start using phone number as a data type. Okay. Till now, phone number was not a data type. It was only you could use primitive or derived data types. Now I have a user defined data type called phone number. It has a particular format. Its base is string, its length is 10, and it has a pattern 3 numbers hyphen 3 numbers hyphen 4 numbers. Okay. So that is an example for a simple type element declaration with an example.
Sir?
Yes.
What is base, sir? Like it should be number, no, sir? Phone number.
I mean, number, if I say hyphen, how it will come? Hyphen is also part of your phone number data type, right? If I had mentioned my base as number, then I will not be able to use hyphen in my value part.
Okay, it is like saying PC data in schema, no, sir?
PC data is parsable character data. So that is a broad category. Whereas string, if you say, it will only take numbers and characters, but all of them treated as, like string, if you take, it will consider all your element declaration. Like It can be character, it can be number, it can be special character. So hyphen comes in that category. Now suppose if I specify number or integer or whatever it is, then that it can take only 0 to 9. That's it. So only that is the elements what we can use it. So when I'm trying to create the pattern, D3 is fine. 3 digits, fine. Hyphen, it will not be able to access. Why? Because your base is number, not string. Hyphen doesn't belongs to number category. You will not have a value with hyphen. So then there will be a problem. So that's why we have used base as string. Now suppose if your format is 080266548, that means all 10 numbers together without any space, without any hyphen, then I don't have to worry like this. Okay, I can use XSD int or whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, along with numeric, suppose if your base is something with numeric data, then these are the different restrictions what you can use. Enumeration, what are the list of accepted values. Fraction digits specifies the maximum number of decimal places allowed. Must be equal to or greater than 0. So after dot, how many values you wanted to specify? 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. Length specifies the exact number of characters or list items allowed. Max exclusive. Upper boundary for value. Value must be less than this max exclusive. Max inclusive. Specify the upper boundary of numerical values. The value must be less than or equal to this. So max exclusive, if you say, if 500 is the value set, the maximum value what you can have is 499. Whereas if you have specified max inclusive as 500, then you can have a value either 500 or less than that. Maximum length, minimum exclusive and minimum inclusive equal should be greater than. So if minimum inclusive, if you say 0, the minimum value will be 1. It cannot be 0. Whereas min inclusive is 0 if you have specified. It can be 0 or any value higher than that. Minimum length, just opposite to maximum length. Pattern, we have seen. Total digits. So how many exact number of digits is allowed? That also can specify. White space. It can have how many white space it can have. So these are the different restrictions what you can use for numeric type of data. Make a note of this, and then what is the meaning of that you have to tell me. Make a note of that, please. Have you noted down this, students?
Yes, sir.
Declaring a complex type element. So we discussed about simple type element. Now simple type data type, how you will declare. Now complex type element means I'm going to talk about an element which can have child elements, which can have attributes and other combinations. Okay. So XSD element is the declaration. Name, I said paper. Type, I am specifying as paper type. Okay. So which means that the type of that particular element, what I mentioned, is not a primitive data type or a derived data type. It is a user defined data type. But have I mentioned it anywhere? Have I defined it anywhere? The answer is no. So the next thing what I have to do is I need to define paper type. And paper type is not a simple type element, rather it's a complex type. That means paper type element contains child element as well as attributes as well as mixed content. Okay, so I'm trying to make the complex type. So the declaration starts from XSD complex type, name equal to paper type. Okay, and your closing part will be here. I should have an XSD complex type closing. I think I have missed it. Okay, we'll see some other example also. Now XSD sequence. Now in what order in the complex type thing should come? First one, there is a title element whose type is from a derived data, sorry, a primitive data type, that is string. Now author, you are saying that type you need to specify and minimum occurs is 0. That means it may or may not occur. Element name equal to year. You are not specifying any type and all, whatever be the content, it is fine. Then you are saying there is a choice of either journal or conference. So two different elements you are declaring and you are saying that that is a choice. So either this or that can happen. Okay. It is like the pipe symbol what we have used in DTD. So this is the sequence of the paper type element. Okay. So the paper type says that it can contain 3 elements, that is name, sorry, title, author and year, where title is string. Author is an optional one because minimum occurs equal to 0. Here is like any type, whereas it doesn't have mentioned any specific information with respect to the type. And you have 2 elements, journal or conference, which is optional. You are going to choose one among them. And that's it. So now what happens is this whole thing becomes the definition of your paper type data type. And what is paper type? It is a complex type. And this I am going to use in my first statement, that is this line, where I said my paper is an element which uses a type called paper type. And paper type I have defined it as title, author, year, and journal or conference. Okay. Make a note of this example, please. This you have noted down, students. Have you noted it down?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It also says that the paper type can have attributes. If that is the case, how will you do that? So after sequence, we have closed it. Now what we will do is we will introduce XSD colon attribute, name equal to language, type equal to XSD colon NM token, fixed English. So I can have any character. It is again a built-in keyword available NM token. That is the data types available for attributes. What we have seen, primitive data types, derived data types, list data type, and all those things are for elements. For attributes, at see different set of like data types are specified there. Okay, so what it says is language is the attribute and its value is fixed with English. We will do is we will try to write a schema definition and then see how it is happening. Okay, something what we have used for DTD only. XML documents needs to generated for storing student event details. So a student event should contain the following information. So the element, if you call it as event, then the type is student event. So it's a complex type now. Why? Because it contains the following information. Event number and type should be included as attributes. Title, description, participants, duration, and rating are child elements. Description can contain summary, date, and slot. Participants in turn contain participant, which should have name, gender, branch, and semester. So there are multiple complex type elements involved in this. Okay. So first we have to try to identify what are the complex type elements in that. Okay. So we will start with the bottom one. We have something called participant. Okay. Which have name, gender, branch, and semester as child elements and register number as an attribute. So that is one complex type we have to define. And this participant type is basically one of the child element for participants. And it can in turn can contain participant. So one or more number of times occurrence is what it is expecting. So that is one. Now, description is again not a direct primitive or derived data type. It contains a complex data type because that type complex data type contains summary, date, slot. Okay. So description you have to write another one, and then student event should be another complex type which contains title, description, participants, duration, and rating. Okay, and two attributes are also mentioned: event number and time. Okay, so start writing what you call complex text for the innermost one. The innermost one is participant. So start writing with that. I have to define a complex type element called participant, and that will have four child elements and register number as an attribute. Start doing that. Name, gender, branch, and semester. Branch. This will create, I think some more things are there required, right? Register number as an attribute. So this will make your participant type, or I can say the type participant is ready. Now this element will be a child element for participants. How you will do that part? Students, I have shown the example for one of the part in the question. You have to continue with that. Participants, I call it as participants types. What you mean by participant types is name equals participants type no other elements or attributes. Is there any attribute for that participants return contain? Okay, something is there. Line I can delete. This becomes your participants element. So two part is done. Now you have to write description, can contain summary, date, slot, etc. So that you have to figure out how to write, and then student event. So what you do is go through this remaining part. I mean, you take a screenshot of this slide and this slide. Take a screenshot of these slides, please. Taken?
Yes, sir.
This slide also. Okay. So now you complete this, and then we will explain the remaining part in the next class. Okay. Now I will wind up, and we will discuss more on XSD, writing XSD part with some more examples in the next class. That will wind up XML, and we will go to the next topic. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.